These are the top 10 Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra cases on Amazon. So let's find out which one of these cases from Spigen, Ringke, ESR, Pitaka, Mous, Torras, Supcase, and TENDAN is going to be the best case for you and for your budget. Now, a lot of these cases are going to be sub $30, but we do have two cases that are going to be in the $50 camp, the Ultra Thins. So this is what your Spigen Ultra Hybrid case is going to look like for your S25 Ultra. Now let's put it inside. The case itself is going to be more crystal than what we're used to from Spigen. There's not a real bluish hue here, but it's very crystal. It is very clear, and the material on this Spigen is actually going to be quite sticky to the touch. So the material is a little bit different from what we saw last year. Now these sides are still going to be made out of the TPU. This TPU is relatively standard, and they're going to give you the air cushion technology on all four corners. So that air cushion technology really means that if I drop my phone on the corners here, it makes a different sound than if I drop it this way. So you guys hear the difference? It just makes a different sounds because there's additional cushion on the corners. See, all of your lenses are going to be relatively protected, but it's not giving you a ton of height. So on the camera lens protection, you're getting about 0.5 here, and you're getting closer to about 1 on these smaller camera lenses. So not the most camera protection, but not the least. And that's because it has a very slim profile. So as you can see, this Ultra Spigen case is very grippy, and it's actually going to stick to your hands very well, more so than other cases. The thing about a clear case is that they're mostly all going to yellow. Anyone that tells you their clear case is not going to yellow, I would be very surprised. I haven't seen a case yet. But the Spigen is still going to have anti-yellowing properties, which are going to allow it to stay clearer longer. And if we want to just test out the MagSafe against each other or with the Spigen here. The Spigen Ultra Hybrid weighs 44 grams, so this is definitely going to be on the heavier side, even when you compare it to other clear cases. Surprisingly, the MagSafe magnet on the Ultra Hybrid is somewhat mild. I would rate this a 6.5 out of 10. So I would have expected a stronger magnet here, but it is not as strong as we had thought. So in terms of overall screen protection, it's pretty much even across all four sides. You're getting a little bit more on the corners, but not a lot, right? It's almost the same across all four sides, so it's uniform, which gives it a much more blocky design than some of the cases that stick out on top or bottom with more corner protection. Now, if you're taking a look at the camera bump protection, you're actually getting a good amount of camera bump protection. I'm going to show you this without the camera lens protector and with a camera lens protector if you wanted to opt for one. Then you have your corner bump protection here. They're both going to be reinforced on all four sides. And then if you take a look at the area where you're going to have your S Pen, this is something that I particularly like. They made this more low profile, so it's even going to be a little bit more low profile than the area around it. So if you're okay with that, it makes it much easier to take out your S Pen and use it. And also place it back. Just because it's more low profile, you don't have to press as hard inside of there. If you're taking a look at the charging ports, everything else looks the same. In terms of fingerprinting, fingerprints are pretty good on the Ringke. It's classic Ringke here in terms of their polycarbonate back and their TPU sides. The TPU sides will have micro dotting there, and it also is going to be softer in terms of relative feel compared to the polycarbonate back. And that also means it's going to be easier to hold in the hand. Now, in terms of drop protection, you're going to have more drop protection on the corners than you have on the sides. And you can see that because you can see naturally, just looking at the screen here, it is thicker on the corners than in the middle. And that's a trade-off you make if you want something lighter, is that you have to make things a little bit thinner, or you have to make things more narrow. So in this case, you're getting a little bit less side protection. In terms of the bumpers, you're still getting a good amount of camera protection here, and overall, this is going to be a solid case. In terms of overall protection, you're getting 1.8 on the small lenses and about 1.2, 1.3 on the big ones. So it's going to be 1 millimeters on the side and 2 millimeters on the top. So that's how much you're getting, 1 millimeter on sides and 2 millimeters on the top. The Fusion case with the camo back. I can also see how much protection you're getting on the camera bump here. MagSafe magnet is strong. Very strong at least. And I like this part, which is it just has a clean shape to it on the Ringke Fusion. It's also easy to take it out of the case, but it is very thin. So this is going to be a very light and thin case. 35 grams on the Ringke magnetic case. This is the ESR Hybrid case for your S25 Ultra. It has always been a good value choice. We're placing our Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra inside the Hybrid case. This is our Hybrid clear case. It does come in other colorways, and it's a very good fit. It's going to be on the ESR case. See how much camera lens protection you're getting. In terms of the S Pen, you do have to squeeze a little bit harder because it's not as low profile here, but it's okay. And on the ESR, you can see the amount of side protection. Now it's going to slope here, but you're still getting a good amount of camera bump protection, about 1 millimeter all around. In terms of the screen protection here, it's going to be more pronounced on the corners than it is in the middle here. If you're looking at overall button clickiness, I would rate the button clickiness as very good. They're easy to find and they make very, very pronounced click sounds when you use them. You'll also see that in terms of the overall design, it is a clean design, even though it is two-piece with the polycarbonate back and the TPU sides. Everything looks well molded in. In terms of overall protection here, because you have these corner guards, it's going to give you decent protection. So weighing the ESR Hybrid case, it comes out to 36 grams. I'm going to do a quick MagSafe test here, and we're going to see how strong that is. And I would say that the MagSafe is very strong. It's very, you got to really pull hard. The action here is quite violent. So make sure do not stick your finger in there. And after having tried it and compared it to other MagSafe magnets, I would say I would rate the ESR here one of the strongest magnets you can get today. So this is going to be on the Torras case. Now the Torras case has a more bluish hue to it. Also the sides are going to have the micro dotting, and the back is going to be made out of that polycarbonate. So when you place in your phone here, and this is our S25 Ultra, you place it in, it's going to pretty much snap into place. So the question is, how does the Torras clear case compare to something like the Temdan clear case, which only costs about $9? So the Torras clear case, I would say, is going to be less likely to yellow because it's way more crystal, but also it's also going to have this slight bluish hue, while the Temdan is going to be much more of the standard clear case. If you're looking at the corner bump protection, the Torras is still going to be protective, but I would say because it's thicker and denser on the Temdan, it's going to be comparable. Where it is different is in terms of the overall look. So the Torras is just going to feel a little bit more premium because of the streamlined design. It's going to be thinner on the sides here while delivering comparable protection between the two. In terms of the camera bump protection, the Torras is also going to have uniform camera bump protection all around versus having a gap on the Temdan, so that's going to be a difference as well. So in terms of the S Pen, Torras did a really good job here, more so than any other case that we've tried. They expanded the area so it's going to be flatter so that your finger can actually just pull it out easily. So most of these cases, this area is going to be taller. They're not going to go in, but on the Torras case, it's actually just easier to pop it out and take out your pen. In terms of the fingerprinting on the Torras, it's relatively good. It's still going to get fingerprints. I would say that the Torras gets more fingerprints than, let's say, the ESR. And in terms of the grip here, grip is quite good. And it should be able to survive some light falls, but not meant to be dropped from 10 feet repeatedly. So here are going to be the corners. The corners are well reinforced on all four sides. Torras MagSafe magnet is very strong. I would give this out of 10, with 9 being very strong at the strongest end currently. This is going to be a 9, so this is one of the strongest magnets we tried. Torras even brands their MagSafe magnets, so it says designed by Torras, and they call it the MagMag. It's a little bit more difficult to remove it because of how thick the corner protection is. The corners are very well protected here, and in terms of bendability, it's okay. going to look thicker than it really is. So it's going to have that nice rounded shape, so it's going to guard against that. And if you were to measure the height of this, so you're getting about like 1.2 on the amount of protection your camera lenses get, the big camera lenses get, and about 1.8 for the smaller camera lenses. Corners here, you're getting about 2 millimeters of thickness, and in the center, it gets down to about 1. So this is the Pitaka Ultra Slim case, and we have it in the aramide for the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra here. That is what it looks like. So this is our S25 Ultra. We're going to be placing it inside the Pitaka Ultra Slim case. And if you guys are taking a quick look here, it really just snaps in. So it's kind of like a plastic border for your phone. So on the Pitaka case, you'll notice that the MagSafe magnet is going to be on the inside, and it is ultra thin. Then you have cutouts for all of your cameras. So let us put it in. Here we go. The first thing you're going to know is that it is a perfect cutout for your S25. However, those cutouts are going to leave exposed areas, and those exposed areas are going to be prone to getting damaged if you ever drop something on it right here or right here. Now, if you're looking at the Pitaka and you're looking at the corners, you're getting more corner protection along these corners than you are going to be getting on the screen protection on these sides. So it's almost minimal on these sides, and you're getting closer to about 1 millimeter raised corner protection around each of the 4 corners. So if you're touching the smaller lenses, they are exposed. I'm literally touching them right now. So they're going to be higher than the case itself. The larger lenses are going to be ever so slightly protected, but it is almost semi-exposed. And if you put a lens protector here, it's not going to fit onto the case. So this type of design does have a drawback where you're not going to be necessarily able to use it with a lot of lens protectors, especially if it covers up the lens, because it won't fit inside the case. Now, if you're looking for the overall corner protection, you also notice on the S Pen, your S Pen will be very exposed. It's actually very easy to use because it's so flat. So you could just press it in and press it out, similar to what you would do if you just had no case. Pitaka does have a good feel in the hand. However, it is not going to be that grippy. So I would actually say this is somewhat slippery and it's going to slide out of your hand, especially if your hands are wet. So this is a case that's going to be somewhat decorative. I would say protection is going to be a 4 out of 10. Now the thing is, if you want to remove your Pitaka case, because it's so thin, I find it gets somewhat snagged on the S Pen, so you have to do it from the camera area. And that makes it a lot harder to remove. Another thing about the Pitaka I want to share with you is going to be on the material. So the aramide is quite nice. The feel of this case is nice. It's going to feel and look premium. Everything is well built. However, you have to imagine that this is not going to be a protective case. It's really just for scratches. This is just kind of like a protective thin wrapper for your phone that's going to give you some scratch protection, but not a lot of drop protection. So the MagSafe magnet on the Pitaka Ultra Slim is very strong, and I think that's related to just how thin the case is. So I would give this a solid 8.5, maybe even 9 out of 10, putting it near the strongest magnets you can get on any case. This is one of my biggest pet peeves right here, that the front is exposed. If you're dropping it, how do you know that you're not going to drop it on something in these areas? You really don't. So there is always going to be a risk of damage on the frame of your phone. So the Pitaka weighs 27 grams, which is 3 grams lighter than the Mous Ultra Thin. But I just feel like the Mous gives you additional protection because it gives you more protection. That the Pitaka is going to give you just better camera protection here, but less camera protection on the outside lenses. So it's really a trade-off between the two. This is the Mous Thin PC case, aka the polycarbonate case, and we're going to place it on our Samsung S25 Ultra because this is the thinnest case that Mous has made yet. And I gotta tell you, these cases have been getting thinner and thinner. So what Mous did is that they made some adjustments, but also added more protection. So now this case is going to be 1.1 millimeters thick on the sides and 2 millimeters thick on the back. So this is going to be their thinnest case. It's made out of an oil and scratch resistant coating. So this case is really thin polycarbonate, so it's going to be stiffer than a silicone case. And if you take a good look at the lining here, it's going to have that soft micro suede lining. Measuring out the camera bump is about 3 millimeters, which is going to be about 1 millimeter less than what you got with the Limitless. So that's still giving you a good amount of protection. So if you're trying to figure out how much thinner is the thin PC case over the Limitless 6.0, well, let's take a quick look. We're going to place in our S25 Ultra inside of the thin PC, and it's just going to snap into place. So it just kind of like snaps in, boom, boom. So there's not a lot of raised lip action going on here. So that means if I place my case flat on the table, it is still going to be resting on the case, but by a little amount. And then if you look at the camera protection, this is really along the similar lines of the Limitless, except it's not going to be as tall. So you're getting maybe about 1 millimeter less of protection on the small and the big lenses, but that could be the difference between breaking or not breaking. Nevertheless, this case is very light, and I like how this feels in the hand. So you have exposed buttons here, and those buttons are going to leave it clicky and easy to reach. So this is just a super thin, almost like a skin made out of polycarbonate for your Samsung S25 Ultra. And in terms of drop protection, is not going to be military grade. I don't think you should be trying or testing this out by dropping it. So we are measuring out this case right here. We are getting 30 grams, which is about 4.5 grams less than what the list weight is. Wondering just how easy is this to use in terms of the grip. You know, if I was to take it down, it is still pretty grippy. It is not going to be not grippy. So I would actually say that the thin PC case here is actually quite nice if you're looking for a thin case. It's not going to be the most protective. It is still going to give you some decent protection for your camera bump and just ever so slight protection for your screen. So this is the Supcase Unicorn Beetle grip case, and this is going to be our Samsung S25 Ultra. So let's put it inside and let's see if this grip case is going to be a good value for your next S25 Ultra case. So it's a really simple case in terms of the overall design. There's going to be a ring stand here, and that ring stand does not move, so it's going to be fixed. You have raised camera bumps here. You're going to be getting cushions and camera protection all across the sides. It's about 3.5 millimeters in terms of the height of the lens protection, but remember there is a groove here that's a little less, so it's going to be lower, and you get protection for your side camera lenses as well. We're going to be placing inside our S25 Ultra. I'm just placing it in. It will fit right in. There's not this multi-piece design. And first off, the buttons are very clicky. They are responsive, they make a sound, and they're delineated between the power button, which has a box textured inside, and down and up. If you're looking at the corners are going to be more dense, which gives you more drop protection, and this has a feeling of bounce protection. So when you hit it on something, it actually responds and bounces back up. Then if we take a closer look at the S Pen is also going to be protected in the front, but on the back it's exposed, or not fully exposed, but exposed enough that I can easily put my finger in there. If you're looking at the camera here, you'll notice that there's plastic, and we measured this. Measuring the height right here, we're getting about 3.5, 3.6 millimeters. Weighing our case, it weighs 66 grams, so it's not the lightest case, but you do trade some of that weight for protection, so it's more like armor. In terms of overall grippiness, I would rate this as a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't say this is going to be the most grippy, especially if your hands are wet. And that's because this surface is relatively smooth, but the side bumpers are going to be textured. The sides are very grippy, and the sides do give a nice squishy feel, so it's harder to fall out of your hand. You're getting about a millimeter of protection for the screen across all the sides, a little bit more on the top corners because it's denser on the top for better corner protection. The other cool thing about this case is that even though it has a stand, you can still use it with a MagSafe magnet. MagSafe magnet is actually going to be the stand itself. And this magnet is very strong. I can tell you right now, this is going to be more than enough power. You want to see how easy this is to stand it up? Well, you can stand it up this way, stand it up that way, stand up this way, or if you want to do it the vertical route and you just want to watch a movie together, well, you can always watch a movie this way. This is the Supcase Ultra Mag XT case for your Samsung S25 Ultra. Let's take it out of the box and let's see what we're getting. So this is the case for your Samsung S25 Ultra, and this was the case for your Samsung S24 Ultra. One of the cool things about this case is that you have a protective lens cover. So this is always going to protect your lenses, especially if you're prone to dropping it or you have kids and you don't want to scratch them. The other part about it is it still has very good corner protection, and the inside is going to have a solid bumper as well as semi-squishy material for resisting impact. Now if we place in our Supcase inside of here, relatively simple, we just push it in. But what I really like is that the corners have a lot of bounce to them on all four sides. If you want to take a closer look at the S Pen, it is exposed on one side, so it's easier to take it out. And then let's look at the big feature here. It's going to be on the camera protection. So once you keep it open, this is where your camera is going to be very easy to use. You just point and shoot. But if I'm going somewhere where I'm worried that this is going to get scratched up, this is the MagXT, 78 grams. This is the Ringke rugged magnetic case. Looks like. It's going to be on the rugged case. Very nice, very clicky. The feel is good. It's going to have this textured background on the back here, and you can see that the lenses are protected. You have the buttons, easy to click, very clicky. I mean, they make pronounced sounds. S Pen is also easy to find because there's a entire cutout for it, so very easy to take out and put it back in. And this is just going to be on the rugged case from Ringke. This is the Ringke rugged case, 47 grams. This is going to be this no frills Temdan clear case. So I want to just use this as a baseline because this is only going to cost you about $9, and it is going to be a case that's going to be able to protect your phone, but is not going to come with all the bells and whistles. So let's take a look what value is really going to deliver to you on Amazon. So the nice thing about this case is that all the bumpers are going to be reinforced. The material is going to be TPU on the outside with a polycarbonate back, but it's still going to be pretty bendable. I wouldn't say ultra squishy, but pretty bendable and flexible. Power button as well as the up and down button that's going to be clear and feel distinct. You're going to be getting inside cushions. Strong. Clicky. This is going to be this no frills Temdan clear case. So I want to just use this as a baseline because this is only going to cost you about $9, and it is going to be a case that's going to be able to protect your phone, but is not going to come with all the bells and whistles. So let's take a look what value is really going to deliver to you on Amazon. You notice right here, there's going to be these little lines. It's giving it a little bit of cushion, and it's going to be thicker on the corner than it is on the sides. If you are looking at the amount of screen protection you're getting, this is how much screen protection you're getting. Again, it's thicker on the top, but it's just about like, it feels like just about 1 millimeter on the sides and maybe 1.5 millimeters on the corners. In terms of the fingerprinting, I would say that this case is very smooth. I wouldn't call this case one of the stickier polycarbonate back covers that we've tried. This is actually going to be quite smooth. So that means in terms of overall grippiness, it has some grip, but it is going to be able to fall out of your hand eventually. And that's because the back here is just not as sticky as some of the other clear cases that we've tried. So if you notice right here on the bottom of this, it's going to be flat. So your camera bump is exposed. So it's exposed. So this cover is exposed. So literally I am touching the lens of the camera as I run my finger here. But on the sides, they're going to be protected. So here it's going to be more protected. MagSafe magnet strength is very high here. I would say that it has quite a big bite to it. The best cases we find today are going to be around that 9 out of 10 for the MagSafe magnet strength. But I would give this a solid 8, 8.5 in terms of the strength here. In terms of overall protection, this is just a basic case. It's going to be able to withstand, most falls as long as you're just having a drop on the side here. But it's not built for the maximum impact. It's not built to be, 3-4x military standard. And that's just not a knock on it. It's just one of those value cases that if you want an inexpensive case to protect your S25 Ultra, this could work suitably for you. So overall, what's our verdict? The cases have been getting better every generation, and this is no different. But in this case, it really comes down to the camera protection, because your S25's biggest weakness is going to be the camera lenses. So as much as I want to love the Torras as well as the ESR clear case, I think the Ringke just does a better job protecting the overall camera area better, because it's just going to have a bumper there that's going to protect it if you drop it on anything. And if you're looking for a really good clear case, the Mous case is going to be my personal favorite. But if you're not sure, I also think the Pitaka can be a close second if you're interested in getting a case that's not that protective. So there's no wrong answer here. Pick the case that you think is best for you. And with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. And please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.